Just keeping the bass very simple, alternating bass, root to fifth. Thirds and sevenths of the chords up here. Some modern ideas here. So we could use some fourths in the left hand. That just makes everything sound more modern. Okay, well, I learned something from that. Right there at the end of the song. Okay, well, I learned a little something from that. I did just realize something, that there's a kind of probably a pretty standard syncopation in there that I don't do. So right at the very end of the song, it's 2, 3, 4. I think that's right. Let's take it from the top one more time real quick just to see if that's right. Somebody asked, did a request for this video on One Note Samba by Antonio Carlos Jobim. And I was thinking, did I do a video on this song? And I think I did. And actually, I did back in September of 2017. So I'm going to try to cover it a little bit differently today. I think I've learned a little bit about bossa nova since then. So I'm going to keep the bass very simple like this. I don't think I did it this way before. And I'm going to play all the rhythm in the right hand. Now let's see here. I don't know how I went all these years without realizing that that's there. That's so cool. Okay, so, you know, this is one-note samba, but we're kind of playing it as a bossa nova. Just keeping the bass very simple, alternating bass, root to fifth. Thirds and sevenths of the chords up here. And it's kind of a big stretch here, so, you know, you could do it like that also. This or this, you know, A flat there or there, either one. It's the third of the chord, so you need to have it someplace, and you don't want to put it there. So, and here, got to get the seventh in there. All of a sudden, that chord sounds a little too thick compared to everything else. So let's see what else we can do here. We've got. Yeah, just like that, I guess. And I put the kick in the A section there, which probably isn't right, but now here, I mean, this is kind of for solo piano. If you're, you know, keeping that bass going, you want to try to get a little chord in here quickly. Now, the reharmonization here on this second A, the last section, song's in A-B-A form. So the second A, instead of going to C minor, you take that D flat to where you might expect it to go in the cycle of fifths up to G flat, major seventh, and then to the F seventh. So that's a nice reharm there. And you could do something like maybe. But only if you don't care about the melody. So anyway, and then here we go. Now on the last A, instead of going to D and down that way, it goes right to the D flat here. And then, you know, we're just keeping the B flat on top. You make a D flat sixth chord, then C seventh, B major seventh. And see, it's pretty easy. You're just moving these two notes like that. See? And with the kick, it would be. All right, let's improv on it. All right, so, you know, when I was improving back then, right away I went in, and, you know, if you want to start off an improv, and Amy Nolte pointed this out the other day. You know, you want to start kind of simply. Give it, you know, start in a simple way. So give the solo a little room to grow. So let's see. We've been banging on this note long enough. So maybe I will start my solo on instead of the 3rd, on the 7th. And the first chord there is D minor. Now, you know, the piece is in B flat, and D minor is kind of a sub for B flat. So I want to be careful not to start by putting a 9 in. It doesn't really fit the scale of B flat. So I'm going to just play this and not a box voicing. Oh, that's not a box voicing, but I'm not going to play D minor 9th. I'm going to play D minor 7th like that first. And I'm going to start on my C up here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to keep it simple. Bump it up, so I'll get the end of the song in my head. All right, so, you know, whatever you play, you have to just accept it and do something with it. So I did this, 7th to the 3rd, and I don't know what I did. All right, so I might do that up again. All right, and and there, you see, I got to the end of the form of the A section, you know, where it goes ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba, but I just let the line keep going, and that's called playing over the bar line. All right, let's look at the B section. Now, let's see, the first chord here. See, we're in B flat, so I guess we'll call that E flat, and so that's going to be a 2-5-1 in D flat. All right, so. Now that's just using the D flat major scale. Then we're going to change this to, and I'm not going to think of this as D flat minor. I'm going to think of this as C sharp minor, because it's a 2-5-1 in B, and I'd rather think of it that way than a 2-5-1 in C flat. So C sharp minor. All right, and that's just using the B major scale. And then there's like a C minor and an F7th to get back to the 1 chord. And it's, of course, it's not the 1 chord. It could be the 1 chord, but it's a sub for the 1 chord. It's that D minor that we started off with, the 3 chord. It's some modern ideas here. So we could use some fourths in the left hand. That just makes everything sound more modern. All right, and here, you know, the bass is going dun, 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 dun. That's like a sub for the G there. So as you go down to D flat, this is cycle of fifths. But if I just use fourths like that, I can get some kind of modally sounding stuff. Modally, is that a word? And there I'll use a good kind of a box voicing. That's the box voicing for the F7th. Rootless voicing is what it is. All right, and my right hand is still pretty conventional here, so let me see if I can modernize that a little bit. Let's see, maybe I'll use the altered voicing there instead of this F7. You know, this is box 2, another rootless voicing for F. And then I can put a B pentatonic scale over that. That might sound good. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, I like that. And then we get to F7th. You know, maybe instead of just F minor 7th to B flat, like a typical 2-5-1, I could do like fourths. And do like that substitution. You know, this is something that Peter Martin did one time. They got sick ways to play 2-5-1s. Instead of a 2-5-1, you can go a 2, a half step below the 1, and then up there like that. So it kind of works out. That work? Yeah, that's cool. Modally stuff. Oh, let's just throw on the recording again, see if we can get that going. some modally stuff.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So, you know, D minor in fourths, you could play it like this, and then use the F pentatonic, right? Sometimes people think of it as the D minor pentatonic, but I just think of it as F pentatonic. And, you know, one cool thing you can do, you know, depending on what key you're in, you can put that kind of little blend in, like that. Right. And then I think I'll go to this fourth. This would be like an F altered. All right, we got a seventh. We don't have a third. Got the sharp 9 and flat 13. And that would go right back to the D minor again. So let's see how that works. Yeah, that's a cool line. I like that if I could work it out. And then get down a whole step. So, you know, basically all I was doing is kind of I'm just kind of transposing whatever I did here, down a half step, down another half step, and then down a whole step. Then it's back to kind of a conventional sounding thing. Let's see what I could do on the 2-5-1 here. All right, you know, that's such a great idea of going to D up to E flat. And Steely Dan did that a lot, you know. That could be like half a dozen different Steely Dan songs. But it's just a great idea. I mean, there's a pretty obvious reason why it works. Maybe it's not that obvious, but if you do that, you know, it's we're substituting for the B flat 7th. But look, you've got a B flat augmented. You know, it's like a B flat augmented 7th with a 9th or something. So I think that's why it works. It still kind of sounds like the dominant chord. So let's see, a more modern way of doing that. So you know, we're going to do the F chordal harmony here. And there I'm thinking F minor pentatonic, but it could be A flat pentatonic, right? And then, you know, and then I want some kind of a B. I could do B altered like that. And then that. So let's see if that works. Yeah, that's kind of a cool line there. And then back to the first part there, D minor. All right, what was I supposed to do? All right, so in the B section here, I was just thinking maybe I could do that same idea for that 2-5-1. Yeah, see, look at that, E flat, then you think C altered there, and then D flat. That's a way I bet you have not thought of playing chords with the left hand there for a 2-5-1, because it's supposed to be A flat, and there's no way that's an A flat, but it kind of is. See? It kind of is, so. Yeah, you put that in. But kind of what makes it sound cool is instead of doing like some kind of an A flat scale there, like Lydian dominant or diminished or altered, I'm doing like the C altered scale, right? Because it kind of, that's what I'm thinking there, C, up to D flat. So let's try that. Yeah. Of course, with C altered, you can use kind of the same notes that you were using for the E flat minor. So I don't know if I like that all that much. Yeah, maybe I'll, instead of focusing on those black, get that C and the E in there. And then I could do the same thing on the next 2-5-1. Having some really good rootless voicings will make whatever you play sound a little hipper, and you don't have to think that much about, you know, making your right hand match the harmony that your left hand is doing. Like, if you just know how to do that for a 2-5-1 there in D flat, right? You could play any scales you want. Like for right here, you know, that probably should be diminished, but what if I just used Lydian dominant instead? Yeah, it sounds like, you know, a horn player improvising with a guitar player, and the horn player doesn't know what chord the guitar player is going to use, and vice versa, and they create a clash there. But because each part makes sense moving forward, it works. You know, so... And, you know, I don't think Bill Evans really took that approach all that much. You know, he would do something like, you know, okay, if we're doing the 2-5-1 in D flat, you know, and if he went to this chord, he would probably do something on a diminished scale. But, you know, you could do something on Lydian dominant there. Yeah. I mean, you expect that, but, you know, because the chords make sense and the melody makes sense, even though they fight each other a little bit, you know, right? See, I've got that in there, and I'm playing this with it. All right, so, you know, trying to think independently with each hand. Well, thanks for tuning in, folks, and I'm going to try to do a few more videos this week using this. This is my other piano. I don't want to sound like I'm some rich guy with lots of pianos or something, you know, because I'm not. But I am lucky to have these two pianos. But this piano is a little too bright, and I'm going to pay a guy a ridiculous amount of money to come in here next Monday and voice this piano. So I want to record it a lot this week, and, you know, see how the sound changes. So it should be interesting. If he'll let me, I'll do a little bit of video on that. Anyway, so as always, this channel is just going in too many directions at once, but thank you for hanging with me, and please give me a thumbs up, and go ahead and subscribe if you would. You know, not every video I make is going to be for you, but I will kind of keep rotating through my general subjects of classical, blues, jazz, and also how to use the Yamaha Modal. That's my new keyboard, so I'm going to put some videos up about that. All right, you guys are fantastic. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.